All right, so this is a video for Ghostbusters, and this is for the violin 2 part, as you can see on the screen. However, just disclaimer that if you are not one of my students in my orchestra, then you really need to purchase this piece. You can go to J.W. Pepper, which I've linked in the information to buy this. It's by Ray Parker Jr. and arranged by Michael Story, so I don't own the rights to this. But anyway, if we're looking at the beginning, we can play this first passage in two ways, right? We could play with third finger and fourth finger, so G to A flat like this on D string, right? And you just slur that on repeat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So again, that's fourth finger's close to 3 because it's A flat. Or you can go into third position where you're going to replace 3 with 1. Notice that I'm bringing my thumb with me when I shift. Okay, so you don't want to leave thumb back here, or else you're definitely going to be flat. Okay, so in third position, it would be 1 and low 2. Some people like 1 and low 2 better than 3 and low 4 because they don't like 3 and 4. If that is your preference, then you would want to go into third position. The trick is to just try to move your bow, right, and move that finger. So try not to think about it too much. You don't want to put too much pressure on the bow, or else you're going to get, and that's not a good sound. So just move the bow with a little bit more speed and drop that finger, whichever finger you're using, either 4 or 2. Okay. If you need some extra time at measure 4, maybe you want to practice just doing, if you're shifting, right? Rest, rest. Because you do have to get back from third position to first position. So one way you can practice that is to actually practice that shift, right? Because I'm going from 1, low 2, back to 1. So I can practice making sure they're one after the other. Okay? Or if you're doing 3 and 4, you don't have really anywhere to go. You're just going back to first finger. Okay? So that's measures 1 through 4. Just make sure you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and, right? So you get all the way to 4 measures. Okay? So just make sure that you're really counting. Because at measure 5, we definitely want to hear this next passage, which is E, E to C sharp, back to E, open D. That C sharp is a high 3. We've worked on that together in class. Just make sure that it's definitely high and not if you have tape on your tape, because that's C natural. We want C sharp, right? So at 5, you have ready and open D. And you'll notice that these two measures then repeat. So it's the same notes, it's just a different rhythm. And then 7 and 8 are the same exact thing as 5 and 6, okay? If you want to practice this in rhythms because you're having trouble going to that C sharp, you might play long and short. Or then this way. Or this way. Whatever, so that then eventually when you get to, it's a lot easier, okay? That repeats. Again, yay, we have basically learned 8 measures of this piece, okay? So then you get to measure 9. And this is where you have dotted quarter 8th note rhythm. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Just make sure you're really holding out that E long enough, okay? So at measure 9, you have E, ready, and 1. Same thing the next 4 measures, okay? So just be careful that second E, that 8th note, is almost goes more with the D, right? So E, E, D, it's like you're tripping before you play open D, okay? E, E, D, D. Just make sure you're really hearing that difference. Long, short, long, long when you play, okay? All right, that brings us to 17. I think I might be a little zoomed in here, so sorry if the video isn't as clear. But at 17, you start on a C natural, right? So that's a low 2 on A, right? So please just make sure that you're not playing high 2 on the tape, but a low 2 here, okay? So you have low 2 to an open A, and you're going back and forth. Now, if you know Ghostbusters, you probably know what this part sounds like. Da, 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 da. If you don't know Ghostbusters, thinking about it, you have 1, 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. Going back and forth between that low 2 and open A. The next measure, that will be measure 18. You have A, C, A, C, A, G, A, like this. I would definitely want to practice that C, A, G, A, because not only are they slurred, down, up, but you also have to do a string crossing. So again, I'd play in rhythms. However I can, making sure that I'm still doing down, down, up, up. So I'm always practicing not only the notes, but also the bowings, okay? Because the more that I practice them, the easier it will be to play with them in context. So if you go back to measure 18, the beginning of measure 18, you should have this. And then 19 and 20, repeat the same thing as 17 and 18. And then again, you repeat the same thing, okay? Until you get to measure 25. So 17 and 25, if you can play 2 measures, you can play the rest, okay? But you actually have to practice them. If you're getting frustrated and you can't play them quickly, it's because you didn't practice them quickly in rhythms, okay? We get to 25, you'll notice that 25 is the same thing as 5, right? You're going to notice that they don't give you another sharp sign here by the C, but this one over here was a courtesy accidental. They didn't have to give that to you, right? It's in the key signature already, so you should know that when this comes up, because of your key signature, this is going to be a high 3. So again, make sure you're reaching over. Okay? And then you get that same thing up until 29. Excellent. Now at 29, you have a rest. Notice the natural. So you're going to have regular C natural now, C, B, G, and that G is tied. So you have 4, 1 into the next measure. You're going to notice that each of those measures that follow with a note that ties over is going to be held into beat 1 of the following measure, right? So let's take a look at, again, at 29. Between C and B, you have a half step. So you have a rest. 1, rest, rest, now B. 2, 3, 4, back to C. 2, 3, 4, rest. Now I have a B on A string. To a C natural, low 2. To an F sharp, high 2. And then I go to 37. You'll notice is the same thing that we learned before at 5 and also at 25, okay? Then you see DSL coda. The sign means that you have to go back to the sign, which is measure 9. So after you get done playing here, I believe that's measure 40, you go all the way back to 9, play everything until you see 2 coda, and then once you see that, you jump down to the coda. You'll notice that we have this again, E, E, C, E, D, D. And again. And then the last few measures, you have G. Be careful because it's a G natural. Then a C sharp. So be careful because you're going from a high 3 to a regular 3 to a high 2, right? And you might want to break that up and just play the first 4 eighths and then play the last 4 eighths going into the last note. And then again, maybe you want to build it by playing or connect it by playing 1 extra note to bridge the gap. So making sure there's a difference between C sharp and G natural, right? And then 4, right? So you can eventually play the whole thing. All right? So that's Ghostbusters for second violins. Again, just practice in rhythms because I promise that'll help you. And anything that you really focus on well the first time around will be easier when it comes around again because there's a lot of repetitive themes here. Okay? Awesome. Well, good luck. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, good luck.